There it is.
I think we just reviewed several films. We just didn't even know.
Rantings of 5 madmen.
We didn't even know it.
Oh, fuck. I hope I can open this bottle up, man.
Well, Jeremy opens his bottle successfully. Yes. Oh, he did.
Yeah, it's with my wedding ring, too.
This brings us back to another episode of Rabbit Troop Sucks. It's like The Abyss, Mike. he saved his life by opening a beer with his wedding ring.
You're not supposed to have titanium wedding rings.
Welcome back. Hey, we're Rabbit Troop Sucks. We're a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and, often overlooked films. We're back to you with heavyweights from 1995 today. As always, my name's Paul. Next to me is my friend and fella named Mike.
Aw.
Okay.
It's a me. There's a fellow.
There's Lamar.
Hello.
There's Jeremy.
Yo.
And Collin.
Hey.
Oh, so you are looking at your phone while you are going around and announcing us right now. Why?
He forgot our names.
Yeah, he has a diagram.
I have the summary of heavyweights loaded up.
It has drawings.
Fella to right, fella to left. Mysterious man.
Man in the screen.
This guy who keeps popping up on my fucking television.
Successful with wedding ring. This is a hell of a summary. Heavyweights, 1995. Plump kids are lured into joining a posh fat camp with the promise of quick weight loss and good times, only to find that it's a woodland hellhole run by a psycho ex-fitness instructor. Or, I'm sorry, they find that it is now run by that person. Not really the
That's a fantastic
adjective chain that I'd be using here, but...
No. Can I interject something here?
Sure.
So... we can all agree probably this movie you couldn't really make it today.
Yeah, I think you could.
Could you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like fat
You can't
shaming.
make movies about portly kids today?
I don't know. I wanted to get it out of the way that I'm going to use the language that the movie uses, although I would never refer to people this way.
The tone would be different.
Yeah, the tone, yeah. So I just wanted to, I'm going to say fat a lot, and I just feel like a lot of this movie would be considered pretty insensitive now.
So, I totally agree with Mike. I mean, do I think right off the bat, I mean, those adjectives, whoever wrote that IMDb description, that's crazy talk. That is not how I would really note this film. But I do feel any of the fat shaming in this movie are really from enemies. And I do feel like the kids themselves have like a solid confidence about them. So I understand Mike's question. I also agree with Lamar that if you got the kids involved to be like, this is terrible and these people are jerks, which that is the movie, these new camp counselors, that the attitude would absolutely have to stay the same. Like
okay,
the kids
that's fair.
Like the kids themselves are really cool. Like I would love to hang out with any of these kids. Like
exactly. Yeah,
They got fucking sausages everywhere and shit.
Deli meat.
I know, like hidden stashes of fucking treats.
Yeah.
I love that.
What would you guys smuggle into a camp like this? A camp designed
Cocaine.
that would probably help you lose weight. You'd be running around camp,
very
rowing.
true.
Look at this kid go.
Look at Jeremy.
Lucrative move.
Jeremy's
Like 7 baskets.
Jeremy's rowing 45 leagues a day.
Dude, I know that no matter what any of us smuggled in, we'd all be disappointed when that kid whipped out that sausage.
Oh,
If you want isolated
yeah.
sound clips, we've now extended this to Collin and his witty banter.
That was good. Yeah, it was a big sausage. I
yeah.
would give it.
Kid was packing for sure.
I would sneak in. He had the right idea, but I would go with just a sandwich board.
You just like a charcuterie kind of setup.
Bringing the meats,
Well,
but
well,
like
well,
cheeses and breads.
Let's talk about this. How
Some
long do you
cornichons.
think they were
Yeah.
there for?
That's
they
a
said
very
the
good
summer,
question.
I would guess.
But how much time
I-
actually passed?
If I had to guess, like I really try to pay attention to the time in this movie. I'm gonna guess 2 months.
it felt like
summer.
2 weeks to me.
There were moments that felt like 2 weeks, but then there's like an extended like time lapse of things happening, and then it's like we have the Apache relay at the end, which I
Yeah,
think
the
is like
pacing was weird.
I feel like they tried to do that, but I didn't get that. I felt 2 weeks is the time of passage for me. I
2
think
weeks?
that the jump cuts were just too absurd for me in this movie.
I gotta be honest
time
though. I
pacing.
mean, I think 2 weeks is probably pretty realistic for like an overnight summer camp experience. I don't think people are dropping their kids off in like June 1st and
Peace
then
out,
they get
bitches.
They were trying to get these kids to lose like 20 pounds
Yeah.
a pop.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
would have to be like 2
that's
weeks.
kind of
It
where
would
my
have to
time
be,
frame
yeah.
came from. Like, more
Have
than
you ever-
5 pounds a week is like not safe.
Yeah, it's like
So,
10% of
This
their
movie
body
would have
weight.
been real short if it would have been called Adderall Camp.
Whatever gets you in that rowboat, friend.
Yeah,
Or Ozempic camp.
just doing shots. But did any of you go to summer camps?
I did not go to any kind of summer camp.
I went to summer camps, but never an overnight summer camp.
Okay.
Like it was like you get dropped off in the morning, you get picked up in the afternoon, so your parents could like abandon you and go work.
I did summer trips for like 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
Like
But
whatever.
You
but
didn't
never,
go to
like,
a place and
week.
live there for the summer.
No,
Okay.
and that always, I found that very bizarre. Just like, that seems to be like, I always thought that was a normal thing that people did in the summer, but turns out it's just very not that.
Yeah.
There are other parents that I live around that have their kids that go to like certain camps that are overnight, and they are like a week or two, some
That's
3
what we
weeks.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them were like a week or 10 days, something like that.
Oh,
I had some.
Yeah.
I had some friends where Jeremy and I were living that would go to like summer camp for a couple weeks, maybe like 10 days.
all right.
But this one seemed pretty extended. I mean, 2 months maybe not, but I would say at least a month. It has to at least be a month that they were there.
Okay, I could see that.
I mean, there's just a lot of changes of like who's the camp counselor, who's running the place. Like these are like days, weeks, like who knows.
I feel like a montage scene where there was a flash of night and day would have helped out. Instead, the montage scenes were just one night or one day of them doing something.
Hey man, I go back and watch those new Star Wars films or even the old ones, especially the new ones though. They're all like taking place in like a day.
Right.
It's like, hey, I met you.
Yeah.
Let's be friends. I destroyed a galaxy. Like what?
All right.
I think all movies should have like a countdown, like in 24, so you know
Nice.
where you're at.
There you
I think
go.
that would really help me keep track.
My-
little
my-
clock
my-
in
I
my-
did love that about
Oh
that
my
show,
god,
right?
man.
Yes.
Guys, no, we're gonna invent it. You get a text message. You have 5 minutes left. Use the bathroom if you want right now. He is. Let me jump into this, especially with a bit of the cast, the crew, everyone. The director is Stephen Brill. He wrote The Mighty Ducks. No one should be surprised that he wrote The Mighty Ducks and Little Nicky. But him writing The Mighty Ducks came out in 92, a few years before this. I want to note that because half the crew of the kids are from The Mighty Ducks. He also has worked with Adam Sandler a ton. He is also the director, more recently, 2020, Hubie Halloween. I totally love
I
this
fucking
movie.
love Hubie Halloween.
He-
And did you say Little Nicky?
Yeah.
I love Little Nicky too.
He did movie 43, has a lot of notable actors. He also did Drill Bit Taylor in 2008. I want to note that because that was written by John Hughes. After his death, they put together a script on that. I can't remember if I said he directed this last time. Maybe I did. I just consider this like a big movie of his. Judd Apatow is the director, of the writer of Heavyweights. If you do not know him, This is 40, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, as I've noted many times, Freaks and Geeks, a movie I liked more recently, The King of Staten Island. You get a ton of the Mighty Ducks. You get Ben Stiller playing dual roles, Tony Perkis, Jr. and Sr. His real-life parents are here. Gerry Stiller, and Mara, both deceased now, unfortunately. Kenan Thompson, amazing. Paul Feig, also Freaks and Geeks. I think I've noted before, my mother-in-law went to school with Paul Feig and was friends with him. So, hey, Paul Feig.
Hey.
He plays Tim, the camp counselor in all this. Alan Covert plays Kenny. The last time we saw him, Grandma's Boy. He's the camera guy in this movie.
Yeah.
Before we jump into all this, I'm glad summer's still going. But our last movie was our 2-year anniversary. Thanks again for listening to all these episodes. But since then, and sometimes we record some of our episodes before or ahead of time, I should say. We lost one of the castmates of Clue. We lost Martin Mull at the age of 80. He was so awesome as Colonel Mustard. So he was in a ton of other stuff. I would like to visit some of his stuff. We've noted some of his side movies, but yeah, Mike has kind of said we're the death note of podcasting.
Yeah.
So sorry, but Martin Mull, you're great.
Who do you think we're going to kill from this movie?
I hope no one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of sad. You sent out that text message. I didn't read about it, and we just got through reviewing Clue
Yeah.
days prior. Like, wow.
God, don't let it be Gerry Stiller.
Gerry Stiller's-
He's already gone.
We already missed
Oh,
him.
shit.
You know, I said the same thing, Jeremy, when I was watching this movie. I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot he passed.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Both of Ben Stiller's parents have passed.
I remember when Gerry passed.
turn.
It's like, wow.
That's a real bummer, man.
Ben's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, Ben's gonna be all right.
Knock on some wood that's not in this room right now, but
That's excellent, Lamar. Perkis.
hey, he does his workouts like he did in this movie. Ben, you'll be around for another, however old you are, 60, 70 years, whatever.
Yeah, we'll jump through this movie. I mean, for me, this movie's a lot of fun. I kind of noted before that I think there's very few family-oriented films that we might focus on over the years, but I totally love this one. Any family movie, that has an adult edge to it too. I think movies more modern, Holes, going back, Goonies. There's just a lot of fun. I would liken this movie to it in some ways that the kids are being kids. It's some of my favorite early Harry Potter moments. You see Harry Potter just being a kid with Ron and doing stuff, like, regardless of magic. It's just like kids being kids, which is cool. And this totally
Showbiz movie.
Yeah, this totally comes across in this movie. As soon as Gerry meets the other cab members, they welcome him. They welcome him in the cabin. There's the downloading of food and stuff like that, where everyone's like showing what they snuck in, and everyone's just super cool. Like I totally dig this. But on the other side, there's eventually Ben Stiller, who is insane, just like a lunatic, and that, although is awful for the kids, I'm glad it's fictitious, is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah,
I think he plays the same character in Dodgeball.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Happy Gilmore.
Oh, the orderly?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Who is also in Hoobie Halloween?
yeah.
Poochies. You mentioned family. Yeah, it's a family movie, but
And this is a straight up Disney film.
Yeah.
you kind of get that. It's for everyone. I actually don't feel like you're watching a Disney movie. I just feel like you're just watching a regular movie.
That's my favorite kind of Disney movie.
Yeah.
When you're like, this is
They're not
super Disney.
Yeah, they're not trying too hard to send a message. It's just coming naturally.
They're not trying at all to send a message.
Are you saying that Disney would never put like portly children in their modern day films?
No, never. No.
Does Disney even
Not
make
just
movies
like
anymore?
one or two, but many portly children.
All at the same time, on camera at the same time. Crazy.
Yeah.
Nah.
It is crazy.
Yeah. God.
This movie basically opens up with Gerry finishing school. You find out he has maybe a couple friends, but he's a little more isolated. He gets home. His dad is Jeffrey Tambor, and he's being tricked. There's a camp counselor. They're like, hey, you're going to come on over. This camp counselor is also in Holes. He's also in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Buster Scruggs. or
I love
whatever.
that guy, man.
Yeah, he's great.
Anyone remember his name? I can't read it.
I can't
He,
either.
he has 3 names.
He does have 3 names.
Oh, that's all I remember.
Tim.
This
Blake
man has
Nel-
3 names.
Tim
Like
Bla-
people know him by 3 names.
Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh.
Old Timmy Blake.
Yeah, he's great. He is in other films. Moreover, he's just got a really quick cameo. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna show you this video." They basically talk Gerry into going. He's like, "Oh, it's a fat camp." They're like, "Well, you need to lose weight. We want you to be healthy." And he's like, "I don't want to go." But after seeing the video, he decides maybe he's gonna have fun. We get a quick cut that he's on an airplane. He meets Kenan Thompson. I love Kenan Thompson. Kenan Thompson is a goddamn treasure to America. He's been on Saturday Night Live more than most
Love
people.
him on Saturday Night Live.
We're clearly going to eventually do Snakes on a Plane on this podcast.
Oh, really?
Do you not want to do?
No, I would love to do Snakes
Oh
on
my
a Plane.
God, Mike, that could be one of the holes you're going to fill.
I'll fill that hole with my snake.
with the snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could totally revisit Snakes on a Plane. Wow,
Sorry.
lots of things going on. and yeah, so they become quick friends on the plane. As soon as they're at the airport, he introduces him to other members of the camp. This guy Pat comes up with a Camp Hope bus. He's like, get on the bus, and all the kids are hanging out. As I said really early on, the vibe of the kids is awesome. I would love to be friends with any of these kids. They are having a lot of fun. I mean, they seem like to be into the same stuff, maybe a little different. Like you do get the smarter ones or the more, like comic book oriented ones or like whatever. Like
The British one.
The British one. Yeah. Like everyone's got like a little bit of a clique, but everyone gets along. Like I truly do think like the casting of this was fun and really shows that, like, I don't know, going to camp attitude.
It did seem like all the kids were just kind of having a good time.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yo, and I have to assume on the set, like,
Well,
people
that's
were
what I mean, yeah.
Like, people were just like, probably like, pretend you're having fun. All right.
Yeah.
There is a slightly weird and reprehensible dynamic between the other two camps that are around this lake, though.
Camp MVP.
Yeah, the interactions
And the
between
girls'
the three,
camp.
the three camps is
wow.
bananas.
It's like the Triforce in Zelda if you form
Yeah.
them all.
Kind of.
Triforce of shenanigans.
I don't want to see that fully formed Triforce.
It's the s'mores. It's the
misshapen.
marshmallow chocolate graham cracker that you wanted.
The dynamic with the other camps, I think, is like what they originally planned the movie to be. Like, we're gonna do like an '80s like frat movie with small children, and they were like, we cannot do this.
This isn't gonna work.
And then they added Ben Stiller and called it good.
They're fine.
That's
Fair
true.
enough. Yeah.
So they get to the camp. This is where we meet Tim,
Paul Feig.
Paul Feig, and his fucking belly shirt and hot pants. And Julie, the new nurse.
Nurse Julie.
Who Pat is very, very nervous about.
Yeah, Pat doesn't even know how to talk to her. The nurse asks, "Where's the infirmary?" And he's like,
It's in my pants.
"It's in my pants."
Was it not?
Is that the other lake? Is that a Camp MVP?
It's far away.
It is far away. Yeah, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go find it." And he's like, "The Doisels."
Doyle. Yeah, he's not killing it.
Jeremy, did you show this movie to your kids?
Me and my mom and Wesley and Cole, well, both my kids watched it this morning, and they all loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
So then we got to talking about it, about like the similarities between Dodgeball, and my kids were like, "Oh, is Dodgeball like, what is that rated?" I'm like, PG-13, and so we watched that for movie night tonight since we couldn't do it on Friday because of different obligations. But there are so many innuendos in fucking Dodgeball that it was hilarious watching it with our kids. Because my wife's like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Well, I'm glad I recommended heavyweights and you brought Dodgeball upon yourself. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, everyone's at camp and everyone's having a great time. We get to go to the cabin that he's going to be staying at. Jerry, that
Shay
is.
Chipmunk.
Yeah.
Chez Chipmunk. Not they weren't
Chez.
Chez.
Welcome to Chez. Mike, as Chez Chipmunk, we always have bungalow parking.
Fucking bungalow parking. I say that to people a lot. No one knows what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I think that was a realtor term I coined.
What kind of parking?
Mike was looking at apartments once, and he's like, "What about this place?" And we're like, "It looks like it has bungalow parking."
And it did. It had a carport. Basically, that's what we call
That's
it.
bungalow parking.
Wow.
The carport with like almost like a stairwell around it.
Yeah.
But like maybe a collapsible stairwell.
Oh dear Lord.
It didn't look safe. I didn't live there. That was a no-go for
There
me.
you go.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah, but they get to the Chipmunk place. Not Rabbit Troop, unfortunately, but Chipmunk Cabin.
Chipmunk cabin sucks.
Yeah, Chipmunk Cabin. It was cool for a while.
This is
Yeah.
where they download some food.
They download food. We meet who's the big one who's like an Italian mobster.
What
Josh.
is it?
Josh, yeah.
like Big
He's
Josh.
Goldberg, and he's the goalie in Mighty Ducks.
That's right. Yeah, and so what's the main kid's name?
Jerry.
Jerry's like, "Hey guys, I smuggled some Oreos," thinking he's all hot shit, and he's like, "Yeah, that's cute. Everyone, show your shit."
Nope.
Nope, that's not what it was. Okay, well, this is where we see that kid's sausage for the first time. So
Yeah.
Kid whipped out his sausage on this one. Come on.
yeah. Paul was making notes of where to cut
Nope.
this out. No,
Nope.
That was a big kielbasa.
This is
Yeah.
where they gobbled on the British boy too.
Nope.
Oh yeah, the British kid. He was just
He melted.
He was wet.
Yeah,
with
he's-
candy.
Oh, it's so
He
good.
must have taken his candy out of the packaging and just
Yeah.
like adhered it to himself.
Well, it was
Then he made a
probably-
comment like it was a hot bus.
Hot bus.
Oh crikey! Well, that was probably on there from all the way from England. So they would have
true.
been like,
It's illegal.
like fucking biscuits
Like
or whatever
contraband
stupid bullshit they call it.
And then everyone goes swimming. They go on this thing called the Blob, where everyone's like jumping off.
Have you ever been on one of those
No,
things?
I said it looks
like
su-
gotten launched off.
Yeah, I said it looks super
Yeah.
awesome.
It's awesome.
does
Yeah,
awesome.
totally.
It's
I would
amazing.
I would totally go on that. So yeah, all the kids are having fun. Yeah, I just want to note too, like, you know, they eventually dismantle the blob. I've been on things like kind of similar. That takes a lot. Like, you got to swim out. You're climbing up. You're using all your body weight. You're swimming. Like, that's like a healthy activity.
That's exercise.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird that they dismantled
Shedding
that.
the pounds.
Yeah. Side note, but yeah, everyone's having fun. And then next morning, sad news. The Bushkins, who is the Stiller family, they are in some like fraud situation and lost money, and they have to sell. They're selling to Tony Perkis, who is Ben Stiller, and you know, they wish all the kids luck, and just make sure don't let other people sign your checks.
Yeah,
Good life advice from Gerry Stiller. And Tony Perkis comes out, and he is Ben Stiller. He is batshit crazy. He looks like he's a caveman that just thawed out of ice and came to life. He is
just an unfrozen caveman lord.
Yeah, he is 1,000% on the tension scale. I told Mike and Collin and Lamar that if a sketch artist asked me to draw Tony Perkis, I could do it. That hair and those psycho eyes.
yes.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller is so well cast in this role. And that's what I mean. Like, you get this super kids movie, but, you know, Ben Stiller really grounds this movie into a more PG-13 movie, which makes it a blast for me. Like, the kids are having a miserable time, but Tony Perkis is a freaking crazy
This
person.
movie would not
Yeah.
be good without him.
No,
I mean, if
not
it's
at
good
all.
at all, but yeah. But you know, as an only child who was educated nonstop by private tutors, he's really looking forward to interacting with children for the first time.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
All the kids are freaked out. Things are going to change. They're going to be wearing uniforms. It's now going to be exercise centric. They now all go back to their cabins. Pat, who usually stays with the chipmunks, is kicked out. Lars is like, go take it up with Tony. Lars is now in charge of the chipmunk cabin. One of my and Mike's favorite lines comes from this. The kids in the cabin go, Lars, it's a funny name. Where are you from? And he simply just goes, with a dead-eyed stare, far away. It really sets the tone of Lars. Lars is by far side characters. Lars is my favorite character.
He's pretty good in this.
He says so many weird things. I love this guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
far away.
Lars is also kind of hot for Nurse Julie.
Oh yeah, he's trying. He lays it on thick.
Yeah, quite thick. His little
But Julie likes him thick, so
Julie does like, yeah.
Leah Lail, who plays Julie, I do not know about any of those things, but
I think she was in Little Nicky.
she is. Yes, I have that written down. It seems like a lot of this cast and crew have worked with one another in some capacity. The writers, the actors, like there's like a ton of crossover. So it makes me think again. You know, you're working with all these kids and they're having fun. Even at the end of the movie, there's a insanely stupid song, to be honest with you. It's really dumb, but it sounds fun, and it's by the Paul Feig band, and it's led by Paul Feig and the kids. Like, it's silly as hell. Like, you're not going to really want to listen to it, but like that really highlights, like, I just really think a bunch of these kids were having fun.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing, especially with a movie like this.
Yeah.
It's next morning.
Next morning, is this the camp MVP competition?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Challenge baseball, yes it is.
Yeah. So this is, I don't like that. I mean, I like the scene just fine, but like, I guess every year they have a competition with the camp across the lake because, like Collin said, that's clearly what they were trying to go for. The camp across the lake is a camp for like baseball athletes.
they're like the jocks.
Right.
Yeah, like you have to be like fucking, you know, Aaron Rodgers.
Right. So like in what fucking planet are they going like, hey, like every summer, how about we team up all of our fat losers to play baseball against a baseball camp?
Well, let me just reference something a little secret to everyone here. I think the campers wanted the underdogs to become the overdogs.
Yeah. I kind of got a vibe.
They wanted to become the fucking hot dogs.
Hey, that too.
Hey, craft services.
Hey, Dr. Fruit.
I kind of got the vibe that this was a setup for them to just get humiliated by the counselors.
Well, I mean, clearly, but like, why as a camp counselor would you do that?
Well, this is the I've never worked with children, and Tony's whole attitude is a psychopath. I mean, if this, this movie is like one step away, like in reality, like we do some script changes and make this a rated R horror movie.
Sure,
And you often hear Tony talking about like you have to hate yourself before you can like overcome the ability to like, you know, turn off your eating. And so I think that's what he's trying to do throughout this entire film is make them hate themselves by
Well-
putting them in situations they can't overcome.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's, you know, like the conceit at the end of it is that like you have to believe.
But
in
it does
yourself
sound
to
like
get
they've
better.
done this before.
Well, that's
like,
what I'm
every
saying.
year,
Like,
yeah.
the fucking Apache Challenge or whatever the fuck it's called from the end, they do it every year and they always get obliterated. So like, we don't know if this MVP camp baseball game is routine or not, but like clearly they're not opposed to teaming or to putting the fat camp kids against the baseball dudes, which is bananas for me.
Yeah, just been how many years? Like 30 years of
Right.
humiliating a fat camp and 30 years of building up this MVP jock camp.
So before, just remember, Jerry Stiller was essentially in charge. So now close your eyes. Imagine he has a flask of whiskey. He's drinking it.
I see where this is going.
He's running a camp. Someone else is signing his checks.
Yep. That's
Yeah, that's amazing.
Maybe he was doing like running like a gambling ring, and that's how he lost the camp. He bet against the MVPs one time.
And then in the end, you're filing Chapter 9 bankruptcy,
Yeah.
and off you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
To whatever
Why not?
prison or deathbed you go to.
yeah.
Wow. It's like a poem, Lamar.
Well, they don't win the baseball game.
They do not.
Spoiler
Needless to
alert. Yeah.
The score is, I think, in a triple digits. I couldn't.
Oh my!
get
Like when they panned over to the scoreboard, like I don't even know how they ever got the MVP camp kids out. Like I imagine that would have just been one
Yeah, it was
really
just
long
zeros.
inning.
Like, yeah,
it was
and
all
there was no
zeros.
rhyme or reason for the score.
Well, here's a fun thing. Usually people just implement the slaughter rule, where if you're just getting your ass kicked so badly, like the other coaches, like just
Go
like
Can we stop?
for pride's sake, like we're just gonna end.
They're
this.
already-
We're gonna take
They're
a
already
boat
dead.
back across
Yeah.
the lake here.
Well, now we're in the night, and then Tony wants to come in and talk to the kids. Like, you know, I believe in you, and here's the thing. Like, I think you have smuggled candy in, but he's like really like tricky. Like, I'm your Uncle Tony. Like, you could trust me. Like, I'm not mad. I still like you. And he hugs Kenan. And he's like, my boy is packin. And he pulls out a Pez container and he flips out the Pez and you hear the sound of bullets drop. Bing, bing, bing.
The sound effect here was so funny.
It was good.
Yeah, and then he's he's finding, you know, candy smuggled in beds. And one of the camp counselors...
They did have a lot of candy.
Yeah, one of the camp counselors is like, I used to be a chipmunk, and they hide it here. And I love, he's like, Tony goes, oh, good, a deli meat. And he pulls out one of the sausages.
Yeah, he starts flopping it around and bending it.
Right. And then he's trying to do like the Who's Spartacus thing, like which one of you kids is responsible for this? Where it's clearly all of them. And Josh is like, what he was like, it's my fuck. He had like a dumb
Seymour Butts?
Seymour Butts, yeah. thank you.
Yes.
He tells Tony his name's Seymour Butts. And he's like, no one's seen more butts than you, Tony.
I got him good.
Oh,
And
I slapped my knee.
well, you see the trigger flipped in Tony's mind the first time, because he turns around and then he turns like he's like he turns into the Joker.
That look he gave.
Oh yeah, he's got the crazy eyes. He's got the bloodlust, Lamar.
That look.
His eyes are going crazy, and then the next morning Josh is gone. And then the rumor mill starts. This is another one of my favorite quotes coming up. All the kids are talking. They're like, I don't know. Like, I heard they like drove him to the highway. He had to hitchhike his way back. Other people were like, I think he's lost in the woods. And randomly they pan to the like cafeteria chef, and he's smoking a cigarette. And nonchalantly he's like, oh,
he's
your
fucking dead.
Yeah, your friend, he's dead.
He did.
They sandwiched that in between the stories, and the other kid's like, yeah, I heard he hitchhiked back to the camp. Like, just nonchalantly, oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's like a wet hot American summer moment for me.
That was a great quote.
yeah.
Yeah, and those are the kind of jokes. Like, this is not a PG film, and I like that. Like, there's an edge to the humor, and it doesn't need to be insane. It doesn't need to be insanely profane, but it's definitely more dark, and I appreciate that, because honestly, these kids are probably saying that. Like, they clearly would be swearing more at these ages, 14-ish, 15-ish. But if you wipe that away, like, this is the kind of humor I think you would have amongst these kids, or at least the memory of it. Like, they're witty kids. They're really smart. That is why I like this film. A lot of the dialogue. Judd Apatow does, I think, a great job writing this. The kids sell it to me.
Yeah.
That kid's dead.
That kid's dead. Well, everyone's going to die because Ben Stiller decides lunch is canceled due to lack of hustle, which doesn't please anybody.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Those lunches look shitty.
They did look pretty shitty.
but they
yeah.
weren't hustling.
No, you got to hustle.
There's got to be some kind of balance.
Yeah. And next in his in the Perkis line of humiliation, he organizes a dance with the girls' camp. This must have just been a camp of was it like a specific? It was just a girls' camp. There wasn't like
No reason.
no reason.
They're
Yeah.
not boys.
The
But
one thing, and this is just spread out throughout the film. Tony starts getting on intercoms, and that's how people wake up. And he has this like motivational speeches like set to like new age music, and it's always like, "I believe in you," and tonight we're gonna be eating cabbage Krispies. Get your hustle on. And then he'll look into the camera and be like, "I believe in you. Order now."
So yeah, he's not breaking the fourth wall. He's being filmed by a cameraman because he's making an infomercial. And we hear him talking to someone that he needs to pre-sell like 50,000 of these things, or he's going to be.
Yeah,
he's going to be.
He wants to sell the Perkis system. He wants to show that if he could get these kids in shape, he could get anyone in shape. Right. With his crazy ass.
That's all you need is the crazy.
Oh yeah, that'll get everybody motivated.
Yeah.
Or afraid.
Yeah. Well, they're all afraid. They're also afraid to dance with the girls
Yes,
from the
they
girls'
are.
camp.
Yeah.
The girls are. It's not a fat girls' camp. It's just regular girls. So
there are no fat girls.
No, girls to one side. Dudes
Yeah, they
to the
were
other.
excluded specifically.
It's pretty cliquey. But who's the counselor? Pat? No, not Pat.
No, it is Pat.
Is it Pat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pat and Paul Feig is Tim.
Tim. Okay, Pat and Tim. Yeah, Pat's like, you know what? This is lame. So the DJ spins up some like Bay City Rollers. I don't remember what song it was. He goes out or Paul Feig goes out and just starts fucking dancing.
Just a love machine.
Love machine, yeah. Pat joins in.
He is getting into it.
He is getting into it. Hot Nurse gets in on the action, to break the ice, let the kids get comfortable with it, and it works. The kids are hanging out, they're mingling.
No, one couple's just making
They're
out.
the kids getting a little action.
And as soon as this gets rolling, Tony Perkis breaks it up.
Perkis is all over it. He's like, "You're not humiliated. Get the fuck out."
He's like the human shake weight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some cab
All
fare.
right. The human shake weight.
Yeah.
That really disarmed him, Mike.
I mean, it did a little bit. Well, I was hoping you would
Mike
demonstrate.
was plowing through this movie.
I was
and then
hoping
threw him off with that one.
you would pantomime it for me, but it's not. I'm going to be plowing.
Threw them off.
What happens if you have two human shake?
Yeah, what? Yeah, can you show us what two shake weights looks like?
Show us, Jeremy. Show us, yes.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, okay.
That's why we need to get Patreon, so we could get some video of what Jeremy shake weights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We can make good money off of that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
We can make potentially some money off of it.
We could make so
We could
much
find
money.
real strange
Yeah.
people off of that.
Colin, we could be getting Sheba Hut.
Yeah, we get like deli meat money from this, and that's really all you need.
Yeah, sometimes it's good enough.
Damn it, Jeremy, get to work and those weights ain't gonna shake themselves.
Rabbit Troop suck shake weight videos.
If, in addition, you would like sultry commentary from Mike and apparently Colin as of today, but in addition to that, you would like Jeremy videos, or maybe Jeremy's going to be in town and you would like to meet Jeremy at a isolated, quiet place, let us know at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com.
Are we going to sell dates for me when I'm in town?
I'm not saying anything
highest
on
bidder.
here. Just
I'm willing to do this.
People could write and Mike could set arrangements.
There we go.
Mike's our book guy.
You mean
nice.
pimp? Is that what you're trying to?
Mike's our book guy. You heard what I said.
Troop sucks. We've
For
entered
legal
into human
purposes,
trafficking.
we gotta call him the bookie or
Bookie, yeah, that's right.
Well, party's over, friends.
Yeah,
You got,
The
you
party
got,
is
got
over.
Perkis.
Send the girls home.
And
Get on the
so,
fucking bus, ladies.
and so this kind of goes through a series of Tony breakdowns. So Tony weighs the kids. Like, we're checking in. And I want to say this has been at least like a week. So that's why I'm like, there's a time jump. At least a week. I felt like it was more, but I would say at least a week again. And all the kids have gained weight. And he freaks out. I like the scene though because you could see it break down. He's like, okay, like the first kid, he's like, you've gained 2 pounds. Gerry gained 9 pounds. Like
That's a bit.
that was
That
the
is,
weird number.
man.
I was like, dude, just walking around in like 100-degree weather, like just doing
Like a
that.
bowling ball.
Yeah, like I don't know what's going on, but I like that the one of the characters named Sims gets on. He's like, okay, get on the scale, get off the scale. It's like Tony just doesn't even want to see it. So the punishment is they're gonna go on a 20-mile hike. 20 miles.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I love to walk. Jeremy loves to walk. I know Mike likes to walk. I don't know if Lamar and Collin.
20 miles is a lot.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Is.
In a
I-
day.
I was
Over
gonna say-
uneven terrain.
Yeah, that's the big thing. So Jeremy, I was gonna be like 20 miles. I could see maybe doing like, all right,
Oh, yeah.
that's gonna be a lot. Now, as Jeremy just noted, like you're in the woods, you're on like uneven ground. This would take forever. You would need like a real trail mapped out for this. I mean, this is like serious stuff. So they do go on.
Not when you got Uncle Tony leading the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 20-mile hike for these kids would be just, I don't think any of these kids could do it, really.
No.
No.
Absolutely
And-
not.
But Tony's freaking out. He's running around. He's meditating. He
Yeah.
goes insane.
No food because this is a cleansing hike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He did. You devil log. He grabs a log and starts like running around with it.
It's so hardcore of a hike, he even sends Lars and his crew away. It's just
Yeah.
Tony and
Far
the kids.
away?
Lars
Far,
can't handle it.
far away. Back to wherever he's from.
Yeah. We also that night, I believe, get the return of Josh.
Josh does
Yeah.
come back.
He wanders back
His dad's a lawyer.
His-
Like,
yeah. Like you can't just. I paid for this, dude. You can't just send my kid home.
Which is a legitimate gripe, I guess.
I mean, that's- yeah,
You know?
fair-
Like,
fair
you can't
point.
Just, what are you doing here?
He also got kicked out for no discernible reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
But during this hike, they snag the Tony,
they do snag
the tiger,
Yeah,
the tiger himself. They put him in a hole.
This was bullshit. How do these
That-
little kids dig this Tony-sized
yeah.
hole?
That was good enough exercise right there.
Yeah.
They dug like
They
a
Jerry
6-foot
rigged like a
fucking tiger
car
pit.
battery.
He should be proud
And
of
made an
himself.
electrified fence.
There
Yeah.
were like
Then.
15 kids there.
How did they? That hole took a while.
It did.
And it was
They were given an hour.
the walls were smooth.
Yeah, they did a good job. What did they dig it with?
I'm guessing it was probably already there, and they're like
They found
enhanced
it.
it. It was a
It was-
bear trap that was already there, and they enhanced it for Tony.
Do you remember when they were walking through the camp, like at the very beginning of the hike, they saw that hole? Like one kid almost stepped in. He's like, "Oh shit!" And then it
Yeah.
they focused on the hole, and then
They did.
Oh, what?
that
Really?
was the hole.
Foreshadowing?
I
Are you
didn't-
kidding me?
I didn't catch
I
that.
totally
Wow,
missed it.
I
Yeah.
missed that too. That's crazy.
Oh, was that when they were like, someone's gonna die today?
Yeah, it's
Maybe.
kind of they're going up. I think it was right around that
Jeremy,
time.
eagle eye with the hole.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure people die every day though. Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they get
Well,
Ben Stiller in a hole. He knocks himself out, and then Jerry runs to camp and he tells Tim and he tells Pat and Nurse Julie. He's like, okay, you guys are coming up with a plan. You guys are going to call like child services or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we got this plan. And none of that stuff is panning out. Even Julie highlighted her friend from child services could come for 2 weeks, so that's going to be a problem. So Jerry's like, don't worry. Yeah, Jerry said, don't worry about it. We've got it covered. And then they basically go to a barn cage. And that is where Tony is being housed. He's in an electrified cage
Yeah, they built this.
in a barn. And Pat freaks out. Pat's like, oh my God. Like Tim says, people get put in the chair for this. Like, we got to let this guy go. And Pat's like, this is insane. He gets in there. He takes off, the duct tape that's over Tony's mouth. Hey, man, I'm really sorry about this. And then Ben Stiller's like, I really appreciate you saying that because you're an idiot and I'm going to make sure you never work anywhere again. And Pat says, I tried to help you. We're going to figure this out. Puts the duct tape right back over his mouth. And that's it.
I believe then they call him a loser with a skinny wiener.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
The worst insult ever.
That's a sick burn. Kids.
Wasn't it a callback to when he was calling out over the intercom in the first morning?
Yeah,
They-
they
they-
put it
they
over like
misheard him.
meditation
Yeah.
music. They started like trying to brainwash him with these like recordings. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically it becomes Parents' Day. So all the parents come and visit. Tony's locked up, and the parents are shown a video. Here's a question I have. So Alan Covert, who is the dude from Grandma's Boy, he is Kenny, the cameraman. and he's pissed off at a point in time. He's like, oh man, this guy owes me like $600. That meaning Tony, he's never gonna pay, so he's kind of pissed off. And Pat, Nurse Julie, and Tim come up with an idea, and they're like, we should get film footage. And they talk to him. You don't see this, but Pat comes back. He's like, he wants more money than what we have, but he's willing to give us the film footage. Did I miss something why he agreed to do this?
He was just
Yeah, I think you missed the part where they're sneaking into Tony's like cabin.
Yeah, they
and
do
they
sneak
find,
into
like,
Tony
candy
while
and,
he's
like,
out on his jog.
That-
I mean, that was
They
at
dig
this
up
point. That
everything.
was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a
in the
while
movie.
ago.
Yeah, we
Thought it
we
kinda-
Oh,
skipped
really?
over a
Yeah,
couple
I
things.
thought it was kind of inconsequential.
Yeah,
There's points in this movie where he kind of looks just like discerning, like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, but I mean, is there any agreement that like is acknowledged? Because that's how it leaves off. That Kenny is willing to give us film footage for money, but we don't have that money. Tim goes like, maybe we could have a bake sale, and that's the last we heard of it. Did I miss something that?
I don't.
Okay.
think
I didn't catch
Well-
anything.
Well, clearly Kenny has agreed to give up the film footage, and they put together all the stuff, and they show all the parents. Tony's yelling at all the parents, or at all the kids, like, you're losers, you're never going to lose weight, I'm trying to make this video, this is all about me. And then they pan to Ben Stiller, who has escaped. He has overcome Nicholas, the British camper.
With a fake Hershey's kiss,
Yeah.
the oldest trick in the book.
He's escaped from his electrified cage, and he's at the top of this window, frayed, broken, his hair more crazy and caveman-like. He's like, oh, well, I think the villain's over the top. Just like starts clapping. Then does some kind of crazy flip onto the ground, almost breaks his legs, and then starts harassing all the kids, and Jeffrey Tambor punches him in the gut.
Before he gets punched, this is my favorite Ben Stiller moment, where he's walking up the aisle towards like the front, and he's grabbing glasses and iced tea pitchers and shattering
like,
them and
stepping on
walking
them.
on them. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, this shows you the dedication I have. And he's barefoot and he's throwing glass after glass and walking.
I thought this was because he like broke his ankle when he first jumped in. He's like, ouch, and he's just walking on his broken ankle the whole time. Like, oh.
Oh, no. He was throwing all those pitchers of glass to the
Yeah.
floor.
I thought he was just walking on that broken ankle the whole time.
Potentially both. And then Jeffrey Tambor punches him in the stomach.
Then the camp is closed temporarily for a moment. Tony Sr. comes in, also played by Ben Stiller. Absolutely love this role. If anyone has ever watched the Ben Stiller show, this is definitely a character right out of his playbook. This old man, he's like, hey, I don't know what's going on with my kid. He's kind of crazy. You know how
Like,
it
my
goes.
parents never hugged me. I'm fine. Look at me.
Hey, we're gonna make nice. I'm gonna refund all of your money. Let's not get some lawyers involved. Everything's cool. And you see Ben Stiller, a young Tony, roll down a limo window, just peering out, wrapped in a blanket. But Gerry says, but I still want to stay here. Let's still stay here now that Tony's gone. And, Tony Sr., we need an adult.
on the charge.
I need some gabagool.
Gonna take a bath on this place.
Take a bath.
Yeah, I'm going to take a bath on all this. And they put Pat in charge. Pat has worked there for 18 years. I love this.
18 years. What the hell you been doing?
Yeah, so those are the lines I love in this film. What have you been doing? What the hell have you been doing with your life? So Pat is now in charge, and all the parents, sure, they're fine with it. Hey, good job. I don't know you. My kids
There's some crazy shit that just went down here, but I'm going to let my kids stay.
my kids were super abused. I don't know what's going on, but hey, we're gonna keep camp going. So do they still get refunds? And now it's free camp, and I would be concerned. I want to know this, but they're gonna do the Apache relay race with the other camp MVP, and it's all the things you could think of. There's sports and various other things. I mean, they cut directly into it.
Yeah.
They have that crazy rave, and then
Oh yeah.
they go hard.
Yeah, the
on
chocolate.
But that's well before all this. Like that's when they put Tony in a cage. I did skip over, but when they first put Tony in a cage, then they have a rave and go nuts, but then they get into shape.
But I don't know if they get into shape,
Well,
but they
they-
get the motivation.
They get into
Yeah.
mental shape.
Yeah.
The underdogs become the overdogs.
They barely do.
But at this Apache relay race, all these sports things are happening. Basically, to summarize it, Camp MVP, they totally dominate the brawn. and Camp Hope dominate the brains. There's like an intellect tent where, you know, the kids have to do math equations, point out pieces of famous art, name
I
vice
like
presidents.
how fucking dumb the MVP people. They're like,
Duh.
like
It's just
here's
really-
a picture of the Mona Lisa. Who painted this? Like butter.
It's really just that one guy who's just like, share. Every question's share.
Yeah. So that they lost the intellect. The MVP kids suck at shaving balloons. Thankfully, Josh has been shaving since he was like 3.
Kenny is now playing Einstein
Yeah.
as a trivia host, essentially.
I just now got that Josh shaving joke from, I've been shaving since I was 3, and then he's shaving the balloon.
Yeah.
How about that?
And he was using
Somebody
like a
over
straight
me.
edge razor. He wasn't even using like a fucking mop.
Oh,
thread.
yeah.
He had like a fucking
damn.
knife. Yeah.
Shit gets real in the woods,
Yeah.
friends.
It does. Sometimes you need to shave that close.
Yeah.
Whip. That's what you do the camp MVP. Whip.
But it all comes down to the go-kart race.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, so they all tie up essentially. So it's kind of a timed race, and Camp MVP and Camp Hope get to the final stage, the leg of the race, in their go-karts. Pat souped up the go-kart for Gerry.
Against the spirit of the race.
Well, yeah, it certainly does. Gerry the whole time is like, I wanted to be on the go-karts. You know, I'm slow. I want to go fast. This is like the one thing I really wanted to do. And it was like the first thing Tony dismantled because there was no health benefit to it. So Pat is super excited that the go-karts are back, and Gerry's super excited that he's going to drive through the last part of it. They go. I can't really blame the other driver. He keeps getting in front of Gerry. He's like, let me pass. The guy's like, no. Like, that's kind of the sport of what's happening. Yeah. Eventually, basically, Gerry hits what's considered the nitrous, and there's a small ramp. Camp MVP goes down it, and Gerry just hits the gas and goes over it, and then finishes. He gets ahead of him at the last moment. The coach of the other
Fast
team,
and Furious moment, man.
yeah, or the leader of the other camp highlights, you know, I'm going to put this to, you know, the test. We're going to get the guidelines. We're going to be petitioning this.
Is there a governing body for the Apache relay? Like,
There
who
is.
does he file that complaint with?
It's with the girls' camp. Like you got to send all the paperwork
They have to
over there.
arbitrate this.
I do like the end, you know, these people all seem like idiots, the camp MVP. So Pat just takes the trophies, like, you know, if this is what you really want, and then just go get it, and throws it in a lake, and then Camp MVP, the leader and all his goons go into the lake. Like, oh, we are going to go get it.
I would have kept it, honestly. I would
Yeah.
have just told those MVP wangs to get out of there.
You could have drank their blood from it. Just
Yeah.
beaten
Yeah.
them to death.
That would have been a bet. Like if in Pan's Labyrinth he had just beat that guy's face in with it.
Yeah.
That would have been a better ending
There
to
we
this
go.
movie.
I told you, this movie was a slippery slope right to rated R the whole time.
Right.
At the very end, you know, is a kind of a nice moment. You know, Pat and Gerry have been having side conversations all throughout the movie. It's been kind of nice. Gerry has brought Pat aside. Pat has brought Gerry aside a couple nights, you know, just to check in with him. Like honestly, just like a really nice, you know, brotherly figure. He's like, you know, how are you liking camp? Are you doing these things? And then Jerry's pretty honest with him on all these nights. I wanted to do go-karts, or, you know, this is how I'm feeling. And they really do form a bond. I think it's really nice. And at the very end, you know, the last real comment is like, how did you like camp? Like, after you won the race, he's like, best damn summer ever. Freeze frame, and that's the end of the movie. And Paul Feig and the kids band rolls, and it's Bananagrams. Heavyweights, 1995.
Yeah. And we do get a bonus after the credits scene of
Oh, I didn't even stick
Oh,
around
yeah.
and watch that. No.
Tony's selling crystals.
Tony's selling door-to-door healing crystals. Yeah.
Crystal meth?
Crystal meth. Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, whatever
Yeah.
you want to buy.
Yeah.
He's selling healing. He's selling quote-unquote healing
These
crystals.
are healing
Transformational
crystals.
facilitators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what are
Yeah,
they?
you
What
get
are they
a lot of
calling?
things to do, don't you?
Transformational facilitators.
Yeah,
There you go.
transformational facilitators.
You missed
Fantastic.
that scene because you couldn't listen to Paul Feig's sound and his music at
I
the
was
end.
buying my own crystals.
Well, before we go into our final overview of Heavyweights from 1995, as I noted before, as always, reach out to us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. If there's any kind of movie that you're interested in, or you have some trivia about it, you just want to say hi, or get those sound clips from some of these gents and maybe some potential videos and meetup spots, let us know. Go to our website, rabbittroopsucks.com proper. You'll see some links. There's links to merchandise.
Yeah.
There's fun
Ooh.
pictures of us.
Buy some fucking merchandise. Summer sale.
Summer-
Shit's 20% off. Right
Summer's a poppin', friend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Summer's poppin'.
Yeah, go buy that skateboard or throw
Shower
a pillow,
curtain.
shower curtain you've been thinking about.
I don't know if you could get the yoga mat. Remember, they pulled those for a little bit. So
Yeah,
yoga mat.
supply chain issues.
But, you get them. Yeah, so
Yeah.
go to those links. We're also on, Instagram and Facebook. Reach out to us as always. Yeah, we like doing.
Are the yoga mats on that
reviewing
like
movies.
fucking barge in Maryland that knocked that bridge down?
Probably,
Maybe that's
yeah.
why you guys are getting them.
I'm just going to say a blanket statement of yes to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just in case it is true, we have it covered.
Yes.
That ship was exclusively carrying Rabbit Troop Sucks merchandise.
There was insurance. What did everyone think of Heavyweights, 1995?
I'm gonna start first because it's really short. This movie was fun and it was nice and it was neat, and that's all I got.
I like that.
I can't really elaborate too much on it.
This movie was great, refuses to elaborate, leaves.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, for a Disney movie, it doesn't try hard. It just gets its laughs kind of organically. It doesn't have a big message. If you notice at the end, none of these kids lost any weight at all.
About that.
Not a big
They probably
message.
not.
They didn't even really learn the
They
one
know
lesson that
yeah.
they're supposed to learn.
No lesson learned. No weight lost. I don't know. They just had fun for the whole summer. I had fun watching the whole movie. So
Seems
there you
like
go.
camp.
That's a camp. It's like going
got-
to camp watching this movie.
Well, the gist I gather from a lot of camp, because as all of us said, like we didn't go to these places, is your parents sent you, or those parents sent those kids, and the deal was you better make sure they don't die. And we're like, we could do that. And they're like,
That's
"Deal.
one option."
Done. So there was no goals. It was
Yeah.
you better make sure my kid's not dead.
Yeah.
Just on a personal note,
Successful.
I've never struggled being overweight, so I don't know the struggle. But I've heard stories over the years, and we probably know someone who struggles with weight. I don't think this movie really speaks to that demographic of losing weight, but it's a movie that you can kind of sympathize with, having not really fun, but you know the struggle that an overweight person goes through, and you can take it in light that they're trying, and it doesn't have to be too serious. It can be a little more lighthearted. I think this movie kind of encompasses some of the humor in that. I don't know.
What do you think,
I
Jeremy?
can't speak too much on that, Jeremy. What do you think?
I like this movie. I mean, it wasn't like my favorite movie, but it was good. It had a good message. Ben Stiller plays the exact same character in Dodgeball, which was made like 9 years later. So I think he kind of like borrowed this particular character for his character in Dodgeball. Yeah, my kids liked it. I liked it. It was a good lighthearted summer film. I think it was great to review it for our summer session.
Oh yeah, and a piece of trivia I have for all of you, if it's true or not, take this as IMDb trivia. That Judd Apatow showed that Judd Apatow is married to Leslie Mann. Their kids have been in, the 40 or this is 40 and Knocked Up, other movies. And I guess the trivia was he showed this to Leslie Mann on a date to impress her. Like, I wrote this film.
Oh, wow. It fucking worked.
Damn.
There you go.
Boom.
Wow.
Do you think they went out for French toast afterwards?
I want some French toast. I hope so.
Yeah.
Colin, what do you think of
Fantastic.
Heavyweights?
I thought it was fun. I probably didn't like it as much as you guys did, though.
What's your problem,
I can see
Colin?
that.
What's your problem?
Yeah.
So I mean, it definitely had it had some humor. Ben Stiller was absolutely made this movie, but anything without him just wasn't really that funny.
Not even when that kid was packing.
You can feel the Disney magic wash over you. And
Yeah,
it's-
feel it really.
Yeah.
And it was, it just seemed like they were trying to do, like I was saying, they were trying to do like a totally different movie. It didn't work, and it seemed like a movie where they were like, we just want these people to hang out and have fun, and then we're just writing it every day as they were going on, and they had like no goal, no lessons learned, like no plan,
Yeah.
and like it kind of worked because everyone's having fun, but it's not.
I was told when the working day is done, Just girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
The girls from the girls' camp.
That's what they told me.
Yeah.
They never want to have fun at any point as they hug that wall so mercilessly.
Yeah. So super fun. A great summer movie. Like
Yeah.
super enjoyable, but it's kind of
It's a summer camp movie.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to mess that up. You're at
Yeah.
camp. This show like them frolicking around in the woods, and boom, you're in.
Welcome camp. I'm gonna go next.
Yeah.
I know, like I picked this movie. I think this is definitely just a kind of a maybe a forgotten about, maybe an obscure film, maybe overlooked. I think it's just kind of a gem more in the family dynamic. Again, I just don't imagine we're going to do a ton of family films over the years. Like we'll handpick some for sure. But this is definitely geared more towards general audiences, especially when you throw on that Disney label. But I saw this movie early in the 2000s, maybe like 99 at the earliest, 2000, 2001 is my guess. And I just remember being like, oh my God, Ben Stiller's in it. And then just I recognized Kenan and more people. I clearly saw the Mighty Ducks a bunch when I was growing up. So it's just kind of fun to see everyone. I totally agree with Collin that like nothing is resolved and there's really no morals in this. But honestly, hell, it's a summer movie and that's how I just write it all off. Like more like a Christmas movie. Like I could just write it off to Christmas magic. Boom, this is summer magic for me. Like, do I need the finite details? Not really. Specifically too because it's not a serious movie. If this was a serious movie, I'd be like, what the hell? But a movie that's just kind of bonkers like this, I think is a ton of fun. Jeremy, I'm glad your kids liked it.
Yeah, they
seriously,
did.
that's like super fun. Mike, what did you think?
Yeah, I like this movie. It's a good summer watch. It's kind of silly. Ben Stiller 100% makes it. I guess I'll kind of disagree with the fact that with your no messaging take. Because, like, at the beginning of the movie, the kids, they're all fat and they're all just, like, comfortable with their own skin and really happy being themselves. And what we're meant to learn is, like, Ben Stiller's just trying to make them ashamed of themselves. And then in the end, they are right back to where they started. They haven't lost any weight, but they're just back to being happy and comfortable. Like, they didn't really need growth. The character of this movie is Pat. Because he starts out this movie, like, always feeling shitty about himself. And by the end of it, he's like, you know what? Fuck that. Like, I'm dope. These kids are awesome.
And
like,
dating Nurse Julie.
And he's dating Nurse Julie.
Yeah,
so
we
like
missed that part.
There you go.
so like that's the transformation. It's not about the kids. He's the main character.
So, yes, but the point of the movie is they send Gerry off to camp because his parents are like, dude, you're fat. And if you're fat forever, you're going to be miserable. And Pat's like, Gerry, if you're fat forever, you're going to be miserable like I was for the last several years.
That's what I'm saying.
There is one other transformation that I skipped over. Lars is
yeah.
eventually tied to a tree.
Lars does make a big transformation.
Yeah, they tie him to a tree and cover him with honey, and they're like, a bear is going to get you. And the next night, they go back and they're like, we actually learned that if you don't have a job, you're going to be kicked out of the country. You want to join our team? He's like, yes.
I will join you.
And he does. And I love him as a good guy. Lars, I told you, is my favorite side character all throughout the film.
Yeah, he's dressed like he's wearing like a doofy wig when they're doing trivia.
Yeah. Like Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol, thank you. That's what he. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this movie's fun. Like, it's not. It's. I wouldn't take it too seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I saw this, and maybe this I would sell it a little more to Collin of why I like this movie, and maybe how Collin saw it versus I just remember loading up like the Disney Channel, even like late teen, early teenager, or early 20s. Sometimes I just have like a fun movie, and this is how I saw it. It was not in the movie theater. It was straight up like a 9 p.m. Disney movie on a day I probably got off work at 7:30 and was like, I have other stuff to do. I'm going to watch this film too. Yeah. I mean, anyone see this in a theater? Was this released in a theater?
No.
I mean, it might have been, but I did not.
That's
see
a great
it.
question.
I have
but
never
no.
seen this movie until this morning.
All right.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Never.
Yeah, and just
Never
know,
saw
like,
this movie.
again, like all the people that are in this, you have a lot of notable people. Again, Stephen Brill is the director. I mean, Mighty Ducks, Little Nicky, he wrote both of those. He's, has directed movies with Adam Sandler that a lot of people have seen. And then again, Judd Apatow is the writer, which just ton of movies. And then the cast, grew up and has been in tons and tons of films. But yeah, go see Heavyweights. Definitely we're in the summer. We all hope you're still enjoying it.
Yeah, grab some deli meats and
Oh, look
Yeah.
at deli meat.
enjoy the movie.
You don't have to sneak those in. You can just carry those in if you need.
I prefer to.
I would like it to sneak in just so I could
Yeah,
just so I could go to Mike and be like, my man is packing.
Paul, help me unstrap these meats from my back.
Oh God.
What's in your prison wallet?
Oh,
Yikes.
God.
Is prison wallet code for butt?
Well,
Yes, it is.
Okay.
before you mentally unpack all of that, our next episode is going to be just a movie that is going to blow your mind. Raw Force from 1982. You could blame Jeremy for this right now.
Yeah,
You can
I'm so
thank
excited
Jeremy
to talk
for
about
this.
this one, dude.
Yeah, we'll really get. I don't even know how to tell you about this movie.
Just leave it like that.
Just go and see it to believe it. We'll be with you with Raw Force. Jeremy had a lot of anecdotes about Raw Forcing it. I don't know what to say about that, but yeah. Any last thoughts about Heavyweights, Raw Force?
No.
I got nothing.
There's only one Raw Force,
Wow.
and we're gonna see it soon.
If you find yourself at a fat camp, just sneak in as
give it
much
the Raw
food as
Force.
you can, I guess.
Or get a lot of money and pay someone off to get it for you, as they do later on somehow.
Yeah, that too.
Well,
They hide like fucking Wendy's in a tree stump.
The tree stump thing. I totally forgot that.
Who was bringing them food?
it was the,
the counselor.
former counselor
Yeah.
for 5 years. They turned him, and then they paid him off.
Bastard.
They turned him with money.
Yeah. That's how I get turned.
He was packing.
This is really like a survival movie for if you go to prison.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You got to pack it.
That might be the next movie. But as always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Feel the cheese. Repulse the monkey.
Oh, wait.